Election back and I'll die away. In short, this is what I have to say. Let us forget spites and grudges and concentrate. Come, let us sit and try to relate. Because now, more than ever, we must show discipline, tolerance, and production to build a strong and better nation. I say that is the main foundation. So come, let us work hand in hand, because this is our land. Come, my brother, come, my sister, and let us build a nation together. Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, remember, the key to success is working hard. For our country, we must have regard. Forget all your differences, let we start to build. And onward to progress we surely will.
Welcome again to this very important segment in the program where I will speak, laying the foundation for meaningful engagement. And when I speak about engagement, it's not just you calling into a program to ventilate, but you having the knowledge to converse on your breakfast table, your lunch table, your dinner table in a meaningful way. We are not arrogant around this little space. We empower you, we enlighten you, we disseminate credible information so you can be a reasonable person in your thinking, in your conversation, in your analysis of things around you. I want to start off by encouraging those on Facebook. Please share the live. Sharing is caring. And if you're viewing me on YouTube, do the same thing. Share the live, spread the word about the program. And please subscribe to the channel on YouTube and follow the page on Facebook. I want to start off this morning in a real way. In other words, I am going straight into the substance of this morning's program by saying to you, do not be fooled by those who will call programs pushing an NNP agenda and speak as two-tongue bobbies, as swords. In other words, the tongue in their mouth is one that you need to be very careful with. All right? Very, very careful with. Let me tell you why. They would say on one side of their tongue, well, the people in the housing scheme, you owe the government, you should pay. But on the other side of their tongue, they would attack the government to say the government should give them an ease up. The government should give them amnesty. The government should forgive them. The government should understand that they poor and they vulnerable and they would go down in that lingo. But that's the strategy, right? The strategy here is to make the listeners of those programs that they call into confused. So on one vein, they saying, well, pay, you owe, you should pay, or pay something little, go in and talk to them people and so on. That sounds nice, right? And then on the other vein, they would attack the government. The government shouldn't do this. The government gave amnesty to this and that. and they should give amnesty here, they should forgive, they should, and some of them don't even have the knowledge of what they're talking about. I'm telling you, because they don't listen to the news. The host was yet of that Plead Your Cause program. Many a times, he's not knowledgeable of the subject matter. You hear the individual speaking about he hope there is no interest and he hope there is no late fee. You know what's to that effect? The people are paying only what they owe. Housing Authority does not collect late fee or interest, right? The exact amount that they owe. So there's no penalties, nothing like that. The money that they owe is the money that they owe. Remember, it was under the NNP. These people got the letter and they got the apartments under the NNP. And the letter states how much they have to pay. 30-something thousand, 40-something $1,000 and so on. That is what happened. And the majority of the people in the housing schemes, they are NNP supporters. They got to go there because they're political animals, so to speak. They follow the party and, you know, they would get preferential treatment. So they knew that these people were not going to be able to pay, but they put them there anyways to get the votes, in my belief. They dumped them there for that purpose. They knew that they were not going to be able to pay some, 30-something $1,000. Come on. Come on. But it is clear. These people were placed there because they follow a party and they just put them there. The majority of them. So we have to understand what is taking place here, you know. The majority of people who occupy those apartments, they were owing for the last 7-8 years, owing government, owing housing authority for 6-7-8 years. So it's not a situation like it's 2 months they owing or a month. That's not the situation, you know. The situation here is very simple. The NNP administration, while they were there, gave these people these apartments. The majority of them, they're NNP supporter or NNP supporters. When they gave them the apartments, they gave them the cost that they have to pay. And because they were supporting NNP and NNP was in power at the time, they believe that they didn't have to pay, even if they gave them a cost that they have to pay. This thing is common sense. They say, well, the party in power and they don't have to pay. So they decide not to pay. So the facility run down. It needs to be repaired. Doors mash up, locks mash up, windows mash up, painting falling apart, mold start growing all inside of those apartments, leaking, some of the apartments leaking, railings mash up, because you know there's a high, you know, there's a height involved in this high-rise apartments and so on. So they have to have the railings and everything there. So the thing run down, and housing authority is tasked with maintaining the facility. So they have to repair it. But where would they get the money from if you failing to pay them? So there are some people who actually paid. So should we suffer them because of you not paying? Come on. But the NNP supporters, they are so accustomed with free-co. Beggy, everything free, and scrunty, and that's how they operate. That's their mentality. The NNP make them believe that government has to come and feed them, clothe them, house them, even change everything on them. That is how they make them feel. That government has to provide everything, send their children to school, right? Pay transport, feed their children, feed them and so on. And mind you, if you have a party, any party now for $300 and $400, who you seeing there? Them you seeing, They finding the money to buy the tickets. But to pay, to get a home, to get the apartment, they ain't want to pay. They want the government to give them free. But under the NNP did not give them free, All how they brain on all kind of programs. The NNP did not give them free. And I challenge those lumpengs and those zygotes and sycophants who out their brain believing that they can make political mileage out of this. I challenge you. Tell me why the NNP didn't give them free. Yes, the majority of them are NNP supporters. Why they didn't give them free? The Chinese constructed the low-income houses, handed it to the government. The NNP knew that the building had to be maintained. That is why they didn't give them free. They knew that the housing authority from time to time has to repair, has to fix certain things, has to maintain the property. So they did not give them free. The NNP, did not give them the buildings free. The apartments, who have to pay $33,000, $40,000, and so on. Remember, I did a program on that some years ago, showing you the evidence of the cost for the buildings, right? And I am saying the NNP did not give them free. So why do you want the NDC to come and give you free? Huh? So only the NDC you expect to give you free. So you want free tuition, free school books, free everything. And then you call for free meals, free transportation, free school bag, free school shoes, everything free. Free material assistance, free this. Free. Where the money coming from? Go and ask the old cock that you support, where is the oil and gas? And why we were not able to reap the benefits. Why? You sign on to all kind of things with the Russians. You sign on to some agreement in Trinidad with natural gas. And come on, go and ask the old cock why we are not at this point able to get at least 1 gallon of oil or gas, right? A tank of gas. Go and ask the old cock, the old Morocco. You people believe that government is printing money. Yeah. Or you believe that the NDC making money and they printing money. You all too beggy. Or you like too much of freako. Or you go eat rat poison, Too much of free this and free that. Stop it. Stop all your damn bad conduct. You in a facility. In the first case, they didn't have to give you. But the NNP, take credit for that NNP. You gave them the apartments, and the majority of them, they are your supporters, the NNP supporters. And you gave them a cost attached to it. So they went into the apartments and they got a letter saying you will pay $35,000 for this apartment with 2 rooms, a kitchen, bathroom, a drawing room, and a little porch, balcony, or whatever you want to call it. $30,000 for that. You gave them that, and they entered into a payment plan to pay $300 per month, or $200 per month, or $150 per month. They entered into a payment plan, but they made 3 payments, and for 4 or 5 years they did not pay, and you didn't bother to collect any money from them because the majority of them, they are NNP supporters, and you consider them to be poor and vulnerable. So you sing this thing in the head so much that even if they have a car, and the majority of them, they are cars, Yeah, they have a vehicle, they walk in, and we can go on and on. Don't fool yourself, Don't fool yourself to believe that these people are scrunty poor, You're joking. But the NNP make these people believe mentally that they are poor. Yeah. So they refuse to pay the installment, and they believe, well, at the time the government in power And they don't have to pay because they would not evict them, they would not remove them. So no responsibility. They don't care. And in fact, they went on to mash up the doors, mash up the lock, mash up the window, mash up everything in the damn place. Because after all, the government in power. That's how the thing is. You have to understand what's going on here, you know. Don't make them fool you, you know. And now they're saying, well, give them a break, give them an amnesty. Some of them they cannot even spell amnesty. Ask them to spell amnesty. They're duns behind school, like behind school back. But they're talking amnesty and stop all your stupidness. You need to be responsible. You were given an apartment under the NNP administration. They gave you the cost of the low-income house or apartment. And you entered into an agreement to pay a certain amount every month. Housing Authority has to repair, has to maintain. Right now, they have to find $2.2 million, and that's an estimator, $2.2 million to repair the facilities. Yeah, and you know what is sad? The NNP is propagating and promoting this free thing. That's what they're doing, you know. But they believe that the government will fall for their rubbish. The NDC is not moved because there must be a line drawn. After all, you can't continue like this. So you expect Housing Authority to come and cut the grass. You expect Housing Authority to come and repair the roof. You expect Housing Authority to repaint the buildings and to do remedial work, you know, with the mold and all these different things, the flicking walls and paint and so on, right? You expect them to fix the locks and the doors and the windows. You expect them to fix the railings and everything else. You expect them to do that. But where would the money come from? When you ain't paying for years, you have not paid. And you know what's amazing? Housing Authority not telling these people, I go throw you out now, you know. No. What Housing Authority is saying, come in and let's work out a plan. Come in and talk to us. Do you know that they were sent letters, right? In one housing scheme, 300 and something people there now. Do you know that out of that, only 30% of the people responded to Housing Authority or came in? 70% did not go in and they're not bothered. But the NNP trained these people so, yeah, don't fool yourself. You know? The NNP trained them so, and that is why I say to you, it's a mindset. It is a mindset. These people are poor mentally. You go up there, go in Dabo, for example, or Mount Rush, and look at the amount of vehicles that park outside of those apartments. You go up there, right? And in the morning time, monitor the amount of them and where they're going. They're going to work. So they walk in, they have vehicle, they have this, and in some instances, some of them renting the facility, you know. They have the house and they're renting the apartment to other people. You think they're nasty and joke? You think they're nasty and joke? They have the house, right? They ain't finish paying for the apartment, huh? No. But they start renting it to other people, collecting a rent every month. That's how they do it. They don't care. And then you have the NNP pushing this backward narrative. Well, they're poor and they're vulnerable. Well, if you knew that they were poor and vulnerable, why you didn't give them the house or the apartment free? Or do you think all you could fool people with sense? You know? If you know that they were poor and vulnerable in the first case, why didn't you give them the apartments free? Why? You didn't give them free. You told them they have to pay 35,000, they have to pay 40,000, they have to pay this and that for the apartments. You told them so. Because you see, all you think, all you're bright, all you're smart, Well, you're dunce. Because when you open the thing on the table, any reasonable thinking Grenadian, once you open the thing on the table and you start discussing it, you would realize that the government is lenient with these people, you know. All housing authorities saying to these people, come in and let us talk. Let us work out how you will pay for the apartments. Because for 6-7 years, you have not paid. We want to repair the facility because there are people who completed paying and the apartment is leaking and the doors, the windows, the paint falling apart, right? Mold inside of the house. It's dangerous for the health. We need to fulfill our obligation with them. But if you pay, we're going to fulfill the obligation to you. But we cannot allow you to stop Housing Authority from fulfilling the obligation to the people who pay. But Housing Authority wants to do an entire refurbish work, right? An entire reconditioning, an entire repair. So it will cost Housing Authority $2.2 million. So why on earth the NNP and their pundits and surrogates are out there saying, well, cut them a slack, give them an amnesty, and watch me. Grenadians, do not be fooled by those folks who peddling the lies regarding amnesty. You know, the tax amnesty that the government gave is for everybody who paying tax. You know, all taxpayers for all tax types. It's not only for businesses or only for the rich people. It is all tax types. So if you have a property and you owe on that property, meaning that you have an arrears, you have penalties attached because there's a certain time that you have to pay. If you fail to pay, there are penalties to make you pay, to make you understand that you have to pay. Right? What the government did is to say, we will not collect the penalties. We will not collect the interest on that tax that you owe. But instead, you will only pay what you owe, meaning the principal amount, what you originally owed before we put all the penalties and the fees and all the things on it. That is what the government did, you know. And it's for everybody until December 2023. All tax types. So it is disingenuous one, but intentionally misleading for those NNP pundits to make you believe that the tax amnesty is only for businesses and that the tax amnesty is only for the rich. That's a lie. That's a lie. The amount of people who benefited so far from this tax amnesty, it's amazing. But that is how the NNP concoct stories, because they hoping to jump on every living thing to get political mileage. And I was speaking to one of those hierarchy within NNP. I say, oh, you're real dumb, you know. I say, if you want a lesson, let me teach you. I said, during the NNP time in office, because I was the lone voice out here taking them on, and I would choose what to attack and what to talk about. I would choose, not everything I would jump on and pounce on with the hope that I will get political mileage. No, there are certain things you dare not talk about it because you're going to backfire on you. But they don't have political sense. They're not politically astute. They're dumb politically. I handle NNP single-handedly for the last how many years. I took them on. And when I spoke on this program about issues, it became the conversation throughout the country, and people actually reasoning just as I did. When I gave the cue, the reasoning out there were in line with exactly what I am saying. But the NNP, they're out there now with this particular issue. And people are talking opposite to what they're saying. People are saying what you're saying doesn't make sense. And they just don't, they're just not getting it. It's same thing like the settlement with Kimpton Kawana Bay Resort, right? Where Flamboyant once sat. Keith Mitchell go and open him out on that particular issue. That should be the last old cock to crow on this issue. Keith Claudius Mitchell should be the last old cock to crow on this issue of the Kimpton Kawana Bay Resort, Beach Resort. He should be the last person to talk about that. If you go and you check the comments on MTV when Keith Mitchell was featured on this particular issue, nearly all the comments have been negative against the man and the NNP. And anywhere, Roland Bowler did some piece talking about something in the past on one of those networks. And when you go under that piece, the comments have been very, very negative. Kate Lewis, all of them, Emlyn, all of them, when they come out and speak. I'm telling you, it's sad, but that's the reality. People despise them. People are so angry still when it comes to NNP and that old cock and all of them. They're just not able to get a breakthrough on no issue at all. Because they're not smart politically. You jump in on an issue like that, instead of you telling these people to pay up, pay the money, pay up. What's that? Pay it up. It's just nonsense. It's amazing. You jump on issues that just don't matter. And look, the folks on the live, you can't tell me how to pronounce Kiwana Bay Resort or Kimpton Kawana Kiwana Bay Resort. We know what we're talking about. Right? So don't try to be no teacher on that. Listen to me, I'm the teacher here. You understand the point? If you listen to the developer, how they pronouncing the name of that facility, and if you listen to those in the news, totally different. You understand what I'm saying? So stop playing as though you some damn English teacher. You're not. Anyways, let me get back to the subject matter. I am saying to you, there are things that you dare not touch when it comes to politics and when it comes to the issues. You have to gauge what's going down. That's not an issue to touch. It's just not. It's amazing. It's not. Encourage these people to pay up. Go into the housing authority. Engage them. Engage the housing authority and come up with a payment plan. That is what the housing authority is saying, you know. Come on. I'm simply saying to you, that is what the housing authority is asking of you. Go in, engage, and come up with a payment plan and start paying your money. Because at the end of the day, you have to pay to get ownership. Yeah. And if you want to correct people in terms of English, go and call Shaggy in the morning. Right? Call him and correct them. This program is superior to all. You hear me? And if you want to correct English, go and call Sheldon Scott, the big old tomcat, or Mosquito Man, or one of them, or Jenny. Go there. This program, you'll learn here. So I am simply saying to you, that is what housing authority is asking of you. Go in, engage, and come up with some plan. Say to them, well, I could pay you $100 every month instead of the $200. I can pay you $150 instead of the $200. And then you start paying. Because to get ownership, if you want to get ownership, you need to pay. Don't believe that is the NNP in power. Don't believe that. The NNP is not in power, where everything is free. And then You have all kind of problems. Pensioners can't get a pension. Remember that? Under the NNP, pensioners were fighting for their pension and the gratuity, they couldn't get it. No. And every other thing, problem. So go and straighten up your thing with the housing authority. That's better. Go and straighten it up. It will pay you, it will bring dividend in the medium to long term. Because at the end of the day, they have to go and repair that facility. That's what they have to do. They have to go and repair that facility. It's leaking, moles, paint, falling apart, flaking, stairways, and just name it. Broken. It's just a wreck. It's a mess. And I always say, if people don't pay, and once they ain't paying something into the thing, they go mash it up. You hear me? You need to make them pay something, and that will cause them to be more responsible, and it will speak to ownership. So you have to pay something. Don't expect to get it free, because in the first case, the NNP put you there and they give you a cost for the apartments in writing, in black and white. And you entered into an agreement with them to pay a certain amount every month. If the NNP knew that you were poor and vulnerable, why didn't they give you the thing free? But give you free? If you're poor and you're vulnerable, give you free now? They did not give you free. But now, the NDC, the Housing Authority, the NDC administration, the Housing Authority is saying, but wait. For 3, 4, 5, 6 years, you have not paid. We want to do repairs on the facility. You need to pay up. Then the NNP is coming out now and say, well, give them free. Give them free. Ease them up. Ease them up. A good thing the NDC ain't bothered with that stupidness of these people.
Delinquencies, recoveries, and repairs for Phase 1 of the Chinese housing scheme was the topic of discussion at Friday's press conference with the Housing Minister, Honorable Philip Telesford, and the team from the Housing Authority of Grenada. According to the Minister, following a review of the sites, it was noted that $4.9 million is owed by at least 75% of the occupants. Giving more details on the monies owed based on locations was Giselle Charles, accountant at HAG.
The minister briefly told you it was $4.9 million, almost $5 million in arrears. Of that $5 million, we have $2.2 million that is being owed by the Phase 1 unit clients. Phase 1 we refer to as the housing units in Frequente, Monge, and Soubise. These units total 353 in all. So we have $2.2 million outstanding from the 353 units. The remainder of the arrears, $2.7 million outstanding from the other various housing aspects governed under the Housing Authority. So those are the mortgage and lease clients, the Dunfermline lease to own houses, and the Dunfermline apartments. $2.7 million.
Charles insists that delinquent occupants should contact the Housing Authority if they have trouble meeting their commitments, as they are willing to work with them to review and revise payment plans.
We hope it does not get to sending a final demand notice. We are urging the clients, you know who you are. You know that you are not servicing your loans. You know that you are a resident of the unit. We have been alerted to what the receivables balance is.
Housing Minister Honorable Philip Telesford says measures are being put in place and that the process that was being used cannot work.
And we perceive that the collection process or otherwise the management surrounding the collections of these outstanding amounts have failed. That process cannot work. It hasn't worked and it has failed. Either because there was no political will, or either because we simply refused to function as a professional organization.
Repairs and maintenance work on the housing units are scheduled to commence in October and is estimated at around $2 million. MTV News, Donessa Pantru.
Yeah, so where would they get the money to do that repair? All the repairs, all the work that must be done. And look, to be real with you, heads should roll at housing authority. Because you can't tell me there are people who are tasked with that responsibility of making sure that these people pay up. And for all these years, they did not do so. They did not collect what they were supposed to collect. Heads should roll in housing authority. Some people should be, made to account for their stewardship. In other words, if you're responsible for X, Y, and Z, you did not do it over the many years, don't tell me because government changed now and they have a different policy, you then start doing your work. No. They need to do something where that is concerned. In terms of housing authority, you can't tell me after all these years you fail to collect what you're supposed to collect and now you no. There should be some decisive action taken where that is concerned. Yep, I'm not saying fire. I'm saying shift them, transfer them, move them out of there. They can't do the work. And if it comes to firing, you have grounds to fire. Yep, come on. But I want to play that Sycophant and Zygote, that pundit, and what he had to say. Remember him? He used to be with Sheldon Scott, the old Tomcat, on the NNP had what is it, Hard Talk? Hard Talk program. Remember they had it Hard Talk? Or they changed it to some other name. Hard Talk program. He used to be there. That's Devon Romaine. I think his nickname is Panames. Right? Panames. I think they used to call him Panames during the revolution or whenever. But listen to him.
Out of that. But what I want to speak about is the whole question of persons being delinquent, right, on payments and so for the houses, and which is expecting, because the best of us, we owe, banking institutions, we owe the shops, we owe whatever persons that we're dealing with, and so. And it's amazing to understand that it's around what, $2 million, $3 million, right, that is being owed by personnel who occupy, right, these houses. I think it's Subies, that's one. The one in River Road, right, Mount Rush, and there's another one. And the government apparently is moving to collect, right, on these delinquents and so. And yes, it is something that you invest in and everything like that. Well, and not just invest, but most of the housing unit was given as donations by the government of China. Right now, I want to appeal to government. Just as you gave the business people tax amnesty, you gave other persons tax amnesty. I'm appealing to you to also apply amnesties to those personnels, right, who are being delinquent at this point in time, because we understand the economic situation. We understand the persons who are dwelling there, they are not persons per se who are not under the poverty line. So I want to bring to you, Minister Telesford and Prime Minister, members of his government too, give the people who are delinquent in the sum of what, over $2 million, give them an amnesty. Let the government basically take up that expense, just as you did with the business people. They didn't pay a lot of VAT that they have collected, and so a lot of them didn't pay, and they had penalties on it. You waive it from them.
Right, and
They are business.
that's false. That's false. That is false. The VAT itself, they must pay it. The only thing that will be waived is the penalties, the late fee, or the arrears, because remember, it would add up over time, right? In terms of the taxes, that is what was actually removed. So they have to pay the VAT itself. They have to pay what was owed, everything that was owed. If you were owing government $50 property tax, you have to pay that. But the penalty might be a $10 extra or $20 extra. That is where the amnesty comes in. You're not paying that $10 or $20 extra. All right?
Business people, they are into business. But the persons who occupy these units and so, I think that they need your assistance. And I am begging, I'm appealing to you to give them an amnesty, waive all the charges, and let them start afresh, with proper guidelines. And so you can do that by the stroke of a pen.
So he's saying, well, waive. What you really implying is, okay, they owe you this amount of money, just forgive them. Forget about that and start afresh. Start afresh to do what, though? Start afresh to pay? What you really, this guy is confused. This guy is confused. He believes that there is interest added to these people, actual cost for the apartments. No. Housing Authority is collecting the exact amount of money that they owe, the exact amount. They don't have any late fee, any interest, any nothing. The exact. So if they were given a letter saying that they owe $30,000, that is exactly what they have to pay. That is exactly what they have to pay. So it's confusing. To be honest, when you hear those pundits who support the obstructionist side speak, I am saying we must understand certain things. One, these apartments were handed out to these people by the NNP, and the NNP gave them a letter with the cost of the apartments. This is what you have to pay. They entered into an agreement saying they will pay $200 or $300 or $150 every month. And after paying for a period of time, they just stop pay because the government in power, the majority of them, they're NNP supporters, and they just became delinquent, not paying, right? But the building start deteriorating, start leaking, painting, all the paint on the wall and so on, start flaking, and molds and so on all over the building. The railings and so on mash up, break up, locks, plumbing, electrical stuff, same thing. So Housing Authority is tasked with the responsibility of maintaining the facility, landscaping, repairs, everything. But the building just run down. They have to fix it. They have to repair it. It will cost them $2.something million. Where would they get the money from? When you have not paid, you fail to pay, and you come in and say, well, ease all you up and free, and do evict them. If they didn't pay, evict them. Make them go. Let them go and find somewhere to stay. Quote me on that. A little bad pay and too reckless. You're all irresponsible. You're all wanton. Irresponsible. You go to all parties and jam and wine and joke. But when it comes to prioritizing, you can't do that. You would not do that. Pay up. You'll have accustomed to a bunch of freebies, free under the NNP. It's a new sheriff in town. A new sheriff in town. Walk and prioritize. The majority of these people have cars and so on, pack up 2 and 3 cars. But they get it free. That's what they believe. You have a contract, you have an agreement. Pay up. Or little bad-minded. The majority of these people are NNP supporters. The majority of these people, they are NNP supporters. That is why they're coming out and brace, Yeah. But anybody with sense will not support that stupidness. Because we have to pay. You owe courts, you have to pay, or else they're coming back and take your stuff, or they drag you before the court. You owe the bank, you have to pay, or else they come in and put a notice on your house. You owe the credit union, you have to pay. You have to pay. You owe Fast Cash or Excel Finance, you have to pay. You owe somebody, you have to pay, especially if you have an agreement, or else they're going to move on you to get what you owe them. So you're saying to me, these people, they have to pay the special, and they pour on the vulnerable, and they pour on the vulnerable. What's wrong with all you? This mindset, that is why these people are making so much of children, whole pile of children, because you tell them they pour on the vulnerable, all they make is just children. Yeah. You see, when you're going to 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 children, how are you minding that? How are you minding all these children? Who have 2 and 1, but you have all these children because you expect the government to mind them, and you expect the government to mind you and mind everybody in your house. That stupidness has to stop. But it must start with educating these people to let them know that they have a responsibility. Just as you go and make them and get them and take it and whatever and make them, you have to mind them and take care of them. Don't expect the government to do everything for you. Huh? The next thing you're going to ask the government to come and what? Clean you? Bathe you? Scrub your teeth too? Come on. Stop it. Stop it. And that's the mindset. The NNP was destroyed. Seen it today. Nearly all these people support the NNP. All of them, nearly all of them. They poor and they talk there, and the NNP make them poor and make them vulnerable and plunge them into poverty, extreme poverty, abject poverty, extreme, adverse. It's dangerous. We have to call it out. And they want to continue with that kind of conduct and mindset. No. That has to change. Well, they took accustomed to frico. Every time you see them, they begging. What are you begging for? Some of them playing smart, they're begging you, they're begging 10 people. And they're taking the money when they go and calculate it thousands of dollars. Come on. It's time to change your mindset. And we ain't finished with that yet. I just have to deal with that. When I finish with that, all of them shutting up. You ain't nothing. Not a thing from them. All those NNP goons, zygotes, sycophants, and pundits. When I finish deal with that issue, they go and pay now. Yeah. They finding the money. They go in the office and work out a plan, a payment plan. Because you're not going to get any sympathy from anybody outside here. You're joking. Folks, you have to wrap it up. I want to wish you all the best. Have a wonderful day. I'll be back with you tonight